Rooms for black students only. It's happening at Cal State LA. The university has created dorms for black students who want to be segregated from the rest of the campus.
When I think of diversity, I think of that image. I think of the image of seeing people from all kinds of different walks of, life and backgrounds and different cultures and stuff. And it's actually reality. It's really what the world is really like. But I think we get this perception of diversity from the media that we consume. So a lot of the times, we'll be watching media that maybe doesn't have a diverse representation of cultures, and it makes us assume or think that the world is less diverse than it actually is.
Diversity is having variance of people, not just skin color, but also thought process, how people came up on life, how people identified as sexually. It's just a big, how do I put this in the right way? I just feel like it's
like gumbo. It's very diverse. There's different types of ingredients in gumbo, but it's not gumbo until it's together. And it's good when it's together, I'm telling you.
What does diversity mean? Well, think about this as a larger social issue. It engages the kind of intellectual resources that exist on a campus, both with students and faculty and staff, and it engages them in a way that serves or ought to serve the needs of a community. Putting in place structures on campus that begin to move us in that direction is a very unique opportunity for any institution of higher education. So I'm really excited about being a part of this team and working with the provost, Lynn Mahoney, in making sure that the academic side is aligned with that vision of ensuring that we're doing a much better job working in service of the community.
I don't get that, because at UCLA they have the Africana dorms, I think that's I'm saying it right, or they have the themed dorms, but then we have that here and anybody can do it. They have the athletes dorms, they have the honor students, but then you try to put culture into it and it's this big thing. And they allow these reporters to come in here and say stuff. As an institution, should be like, no, that's not okay because this we agreed with. It's just having a themed dorm like other schools have out there. It's just having a place where it's like, oh yeah, we are expressing our diversity. We're acknowledging that we have different people from different backgrounds. Anybody can stay there, but it is a place for people who are like-minded or who look the same way to live together in a community. It's all about community.
There can be diversity where people just sort of get thrown into a situation for the optics of it. But what's more important is if folks who are oppressed are included in situations in meaningful ways, if they're being centered in that environment, if their ways of being are normalized and they are affirmed in their identities.
Challenges I face as a student. Number one for me comes food, right? Food, money, trying to find enough time to get decent grades and at the same time making sure that family's taken care of at home. And I think what it resonates with all students is like work-life balance, right? Like how can you balance, get enough sleep, make sure you can study for that final and at the same time make enough money so you can have enough gas money to get here.
They talk about gender neutral housing, but it's not really gender neutral housing. You have a couple of people who are gender neutral, who are non-binary, who are queer. Then you have those who are not queer, who just wants a room for themselves, or who just wants a room. There are people who really need these spaces to feel comfortable.
So I can talk about the Vietnamese American experience in the sense that my parents are first generation Americans as well. They're traditional, they're old-fashioned. My whole family came from Vietnam in the early 90s. My parents don't have any knowledge of how US education system works, how LAUSD works, how applying for college FAFSA or any of that thing works, They don't really understand American culture in general. So
who helped you out with that? Who helped you out?
Me, my sister. We had to figure it out ourselves,
We already have all these challenges in front of us. We have to go over the obstacles of having our parents trying to escape
wars from their countries, trying to escape poverty, trying to escape any repression from their country, just to come here and be able to make something of themselves. And being first, a lot of students here at Cal State LA are first generation students. And so when we have a system that's catering to our low-income communities just because of the benefits, that personal care of wanting them to succeed isn't there. And so because there are people that don't want our kids to succeed, then what happens to our community, right? It's hard to get even to a place like this when you aren't being served correctly. A lot of us, we think about, UCLA and USC, that those are the places we want to go to, right? But a lot of students, they don't feel like they have that in them to be able to go to schools like that. And so Cal State LA, being number one in upward mobility, allows students who want something better for themselves to come and seek it here.
And what do you mean by normalized?
Because I think that you can put oppressed folks in, say, a historically white or male-dominated setting, but if the culture of whatever it is, an institution or organization, stays the same, then those oppressed people are not really empowered in that setting. So if things that are normal, say for my community, say as, I'll pick like my Asian American identity, if say the ways in which that we're, say collectivist in nature as opposed to individualistic, if those things are normal in that setting, then that's truly empowering as opposed to us just sort of being put in, say, like a white dominant setting that still is, has like unquestioned whiteness as its culture, then we're not really in a position to succeed.
And this is such a complex issue, and I think it means that we need to have more people at the table to actually give their input about this. But we need to find out, like, even what do we mean when we actually say that this is a diverse campus? Are we just meaning that everyone in this campus is Hispanic? Like, is that what we mean? Because that doesn't sound really diverse, right? Like, we need to find out what that means, and I think we need to find out how are we going to leverage that in an authentic way that is actually true to the student body.
How can Cal State LA better represent our diversity? With more professors that are people of color, right? An actual ethnic studies department, because right now our ethnic studies department is based within the natural and social sciences department, right? I think it's about time we have our own department, our own college with like our own fundings, lots of fundings too, with more full-time staff that don't have to get another job somewhere else just so they can make a living, right? Because I know some professors who are taking two teaching jobs, one at Cal State LA and another at a different school, just so they can make a living. But then when they do that, they're spreading themselves too thin, and they're not going to be able to, properly focus on their students, right? Because two different schools, two different, communities.
We need our faculty and staff, the higher ups, to actually make us feel like we are important and that we're not just numbers, and actually give us this sense of community. Because yes, we have the Pan-African Studies, or we have the Chicana Studies, we have Asian American Studies, or the CCC, where they have these different resource centers for different ethnic backgrounds.
But to be a truly diverse school, we have to have diversity not only in the population of students, but also in the population of educators. And also ensuring that, the educators that we're exposed to in school, like, if our professors are showing videos or our authors of our books, that all those show the diversity of our population as well. I think that's key, so that we have diversity in front of the camera, and we also have diversity in back of it, and behind it.
The question would be is what can faculty more do to connect their students and get personal? And again, going back to that faculty orientation day, that's one of the things I had told them, You can't walk in a classroom and expect students to really learn from you passionately if they don't even know who you are. It helps if you get personal with it and you open the doors to letting them know about you too, because we want to learn. We're hungry to learn. And if you can just at least give us advice, or hey, if you see that we do a good job, even saying that good job to us and saying, hey, we've seen an improvement in you, I mean, that helps student motivation. So I would say that if that's being said, then there's still more work to be done as far as improving the classroom settings so that there's really that connection between faculty and students.